Everyone, please switch on your cameras. Nisha, you're able to share the screen. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Harbinder.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Sonia, I'll see you on the 24th.
Yes.
Lovely. So we have a lot of participants. It's 4:30. We can start the session. Please switch on your cameras, everybody. We hardly meet, and when we meet, we would like to be face to face, please, in this online scenario. Thank you very much. So, welcome to Knowledge is Power program by Ecurious Minds, where we believe in be the change to bring the change. And here we have one of our very strong pillars of our community, Nisha Vahi. We've been together for 4.5 years now. And I remember calling Nisha and Chandrai, Tendulkar and Sehwag, because whatever book we used to start, they used to take the first chapter and roll us in. So thank you very much, Nisha, for coming back to us. And we're very, very excited to learn from you about more concepts in curriculum. So welcome to your own community, E-Curious Minds. Over to you, Nisha.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, the familiar faces. I can recognize few of them. Few are new. I'll quickly jump into it because our sessions are usually short. So what I want you to do is, before we begin, I want you to first put down what is your understanding of a concept-driven curriculum. What is your take on it? Just take 30 seconds and put down either word, a phrase, or a sentence that comes into your mind.
Universal Mamta says, big ideas, timeless.
Okay. Anybody else who can give me a phrase?
Knowledge to apply.
Okay.
Please, everybody, switch on your cameras.
A sentence that you can come up with.
Any sentence where you can share about concept. I'm repeating for the ones who've just joined in. Please use the chat box. Deep understanding. Everything deep and around.
Okay, good enough. So what we are going to do before we begin, I'm going to just ask you, as I'm sharing the first slide, to write down a learning intention for you by the end of this session. What is it that you would like to be answered? What should be your takeaway? Or any burning question that you have in your mind that you would like to ensure that, this needs to be answered. It's like an affirmation that this is my learning intention. By the end of the session, this is what I intend to learn. So just put it down while I continue with the slides.
Nisha, there were three more. So Sonia says deep and enduring understanding of the world around us. Swati says approach to big ideas.
Okay. So just to let you all know, these are our, please, anytime you want to subscribe, comment or share anything about the session today, please post it. And it's like when you post, when you're sharing your ideas, you are sharing your understanding and it's like a shout out for yourself. So anytime you would like to be risk takers and do a shout out, please go ahead and do it. So the session is going to be based on this, and we are going to be looking at a concept-driven curriculum. moving into it. So I have put down the learning intention and I have also put down the success criteria. You can have a look at it. But what I'm hoping by the end of the session, you will be able to identify, you will be able to define what is a concept-driven curriculum or what is a concept-based curriculum. You will be able to explain it in your words. You will be able to construct it, and you will be able to use your knowledge to separate the concept from the content. So this is what we are hoping to achieve. And as you can see, the success criteria have worded as I can, something which you will be able to tick yes or no. And your learning intention is the aim or the objective that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so moving on to the next. Okay, so what is and what isn't a concept? I think we all know it's universal, it's timeless, it can move from one subject area to another subject area. So what isn't a concept?
Anybody would
What-
like to share? You can unmute and share.
Cell biology is not a
It's-
concept.
It's
Why do
not
you
a
say so?
concept.
It is a topic. It talks about, a very particular thing, which is the cell biology. So if I look at, a concept as being a big idea, misunderstandings, it's also what I understand from a concept is to be abstract. So misunderstandings are an abstract thing. Systems are abstract, but cell biology is something which is concrete. So I would say it's not a concept.
So is migration a concept or a topic?
It's a concept.
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 Migration is a concept. Why would you say migration is a concept?
Because it's
It-
universal.
It's
Timeless, universal.
And it gives you opportunities to look at migration from a lot of lens. I can
Different
look at
lenses. Yes, I agree.
I can look at migration from a lens that people migrate. I can look at from climate change. I could look at the landforms. I could look at natural disasters. So there is a lot of scope of diving into and exploring migration. Hibernation.
So just to make you understand, when you take a topic like a cell biology, you need to connect concept words to it to explore it further. But when you have system, it itself is a whole concept as a whole, which you need to further understand it. Okay. So cell biology, what about cell biology? Whether you want to look at the definition of it, the knowledge of it, or you need to attach it to the concept word to be able to identify what is it that you want to know about it. Whereas system itself, this word system is a transdisciplinary concept. It moves from one subject to another subject. And as teachers, when we are teaching a concept word like transdisciplinary concept word like system, we have to ensure that we show it to the children. How does it look in different subject area, different discipline, and how does it define itself? Okay. Moving on to the next, concept-based learning. If we are looking at a concept-based learning, we just realized the migration word itself is a concept word. And how is it that we need to ensure that in our curriculum, what are the ways we need to explore these concepts? And what you need to do is that anything that you learn, you need to have facts into place. For me to uncover the concept word, I need to first have facts. So if I look at the concept, if I look at the word migration, till I don't know the definition, the knowledge of what is it, I will not be able to use or transfer it into another situation. So like today only we were having a discussion in the class that if a person is going every day from Pune coming to Mumbai for work and then goes back at the end of the day, would it be called a migration? Because migration is movement from one place to another. Is that migration?
No.
Then what is the definition? Because the definition of migration is movement from one place to another. Then why is this not called a migration? The next question was if you're traveling for holidays, is that migration? Why is that called a holiday? Because you're moving from one place to another. Then why is it not called a migration? So what is there you start exploring the misunderstanding. So you need to have facts into place. You need to know what are the definition, what is yes and what is not, what is the characteristics of it, what is not an example of migration of the word. And the best way to understand that is by using the Fayer model. Use a Fayer model where the child is looking at the definition. Based on the definition, they come out on the characteristic. Based on the characteristic, they give you the examples. Based on the examples, they give you the non-examples. So everything is connected. So and at that point of time, you must clear the misunderstandings. What are the misunderstandings of why is that not a migration? And that was a question that why is that not called a migration? So whenever you're doing a concept-based learning, teachers, it's very important to have the your knowledge, your skills, as well as understanding in place for the child to be able to acquire the meaning and understanding of the concept word. So when we look at the concept word in each central idea, always follow Julie Stern's ACT model, ACT. Acquire, what is the definition? How does it look in different subject area? Connect, try connecting it to another subject area. Try connecting it, creating a sentence starters to be able to define it. And then try it, transfer it in a similar and a dissimilar situation. When you transfer it to a similar situation, you'll just get a basic understanding of it. When you do it in a dissimilar situation, you get a deeper understanding of what does that concept word mean and how does it look in different areas. So any questions up to here?
Nisha, what about our central idea to make it more conceptual?
Yes, I'm coming
Similarly,
to
we
that.
can use a Fayer model to review our central ideas and see if there are concept words in that and how we can use it. Can we do that using a Fayer model, or do you suggest something else to review our central ideas?
So I would suggest using something else. So a Fayer model is always used if you want to use a word like migration, or you want to look at a word and get a concept formation. So a migration is a concept word which needs to be spent time on, where the children understand it as a topic, because it's a topic, it's as well as a concept. So this has two, migration word has two connotations. So as a topic, you have the Cherokee migration, Hindu migrating from Pakistan during the partition. So as a topic, the children try to understand it, and as a concept, they try to understand it.
Sapna
Okay?
shared that it is both. Thank you, Sapna.
It is both. So it's very important when you have sentence like this, prejudice. Prejudice, again, you have to spend time because that's a concept formation. So you need to make sure you stop at that word, you do a Fayer model, you get the children to understand it, give them case studies. So it in itself, in a central idea, if you have words like this, you must spend time for concept formation for the child to be able to understand what is the knowledge about it, how can it be used in different contexts, the skills, the simple act of asking these questions, that when the traveler is moving, so you're checking on the skills, whether they have understood the meaning of the word migration. So is that a migration or not a migration? And then being able to transfer it, where the child said, no, holiday is not a migration. It is just a migration. You're not going for job opportunities. You're not being pushed out of your country. So here the child has been able to transfer it to a similar situation. So it's very important to spend at least 4 to 5 days for the child to uncover the word migration before you start looking at the central idea.
We have paucity of time, Nisha. I know this is an idealistic situation where we give five days. We're not even able to give 20 minutes to this. So the concept map would work.
Concept map would work, but again, remember that any word, any concept, for them to be able to understand, the transfer has to happen. If I'm not able to transfer it into another situation, that means my understanding has not happened. If I know cooking, I will be able to taste the food and know that what do I need to add to be able to get this flavor. Why is that happening? Because I know the taste of different ingredients. Then I can cook it the next time. I can transfer what I'm eating to cook next time. But if we don't spend that much time with the children, they will not be able to transfer it.
Correct. I think that's another way of getting the child voice in your planning, where we say student agency. This is where, if we start strong, the student voice will be reflected in your unit planning. And again, transdisciplinary approach. Correct, Nisha?
Yeah. Yes, transdisciplinary approach is very different. You see, the word migration is also used in computer ICT.
Yes.
Migrate your data from one. Now, what does that mean? It's basically the movement. Loosely, it's the movement from one area to another area. But then why is people who are moving from Pune to Mumbai not called migration? You understand the difference?
Yeah.
So it is a transdisciplinary word, concept word, and you need to spend time over it.
So I think when we review our central ideas, because another few months we'll come to the end of the session, when we are reviewing our POI, this KUD needs to be considered. And yeah.
So the KUD, a very funny take. In fact, Trevor had put it up. Said, why do we say KUD? Why not KDU?
Yeah.
And look at facts, have the skill in place, and then an understanding.
Correct.
So I must know the fact, but have the skill of comparing and contrasting. What did I do? I compared and I contrasted to come up with an understanding for myself. And most of the time we are doing that. Whatever we have the skill, prior skill, we are using it constantly to be able to move to the next step. So I just felt it made sense to have it as KDU. So I've put it over there. But again, teachers, I think it's all how we decipher it and take it forward.
I think why do we invent the wheel? Yeah.
I think you must have all gone through this. This is the structure of knowledge and the structure of process. I think as teachers, we need to constantly look at these models, because what is happening, IB says you must not have textbooks. Then where do you get facts from? Where are the facts coming from? And why we always see that the understanding of the concept is weak is because they do not have enough facts. The children do not have facts. And I always feel facts are the springboard. The stronger my facts are, the easier the springboard will be for me to dive into the concept. So it's very important to identify your facts. How will you give facts? Now, some of the ways that we use facts are case studies, literature books, short passages, comprehension passages. Again, let's not forget our UDL, keep our learner variability in mind. What you must do is give opportunities for podcast, videos, articles, pictures, artifacts. Those all become facts. Get into the habit of front loading. I mean, if you look at Cat Murdoch's front loading should be of facts. Then you get into the real central idea as well as looking at the line of inquiry. Again, be very clear. Are you using the inductive approach? Are you using the deductive approach? Are you giving them the central idea and then exploring it? Or are you giving stronger provocations and letting the children come up with the generalization? That means your provocations have to be very, very strong, and the questions that you ask based on the provocation should lead the children to think, to come to a conclusion of the central idea. So before you begin exploring the central idea as teachers, it's very important to first identify. If I'm doing a language unit, you're not using a structure of knowledge, you're using a structure of process. I'm doing math in class in an inquiry based. I'm looking at the structure of knowledge. I'm not looking at structure of process. So you need to know what it is, where will it go, where do I begin from? With structure of knowledge, you begin with facts. With structure of process, you must have the process in place. Something as simple as language art, I want my children to be able to do comprehension, be able to comprehend the passage. That's a process. What strategies and skills should be in place? Then you get into the concept after it. So this has to be very clear. Your facts have to be in place.
Nisha, could you put some more light on principle of generalization?
Principle of generalization is basically your central idea. So it's always your topic. So my topic is cell biology. What are the two concepts that I would like the children to look? Probably I would like to look at innovation. I would like to look at innovation and systems. Or I would like to have, I want my standards and curriculum, my syllabus says that they should know the various organ system, the functioning of it. So function becomes the concept. So I identify the two concepts. I have the cell biology. I have the two concepts. I add it with a strong verb, which is your Lynn Erickson has a list of the verbs like promote, contribute, brings about. Use those and come up with a generalization. And always when you start your generalization, you say the students will understand that cell biology contributes or promotes understanding, a functioning of the body system.
So that's the success criteria of the unit?
That is the central idea of the unit. The principal generalization is the central idea.
But as you just said, that children will be able to do. So that's the language that we use for learning engagements, considering
So
the learning intention and the success criteria.
Yes. Here also, when you have the generalization, when you're making a generalization, you will say students will be able to understand that topic is cell biology, contributes to exploration and discovery. So that becomes the aim, your objective for the unit.
Intention, correct?
Yes.
Correct. So that is not the central idea.
That is the central idea. In this, it is the central idea. You have facts, you have the topic, you have the concept, and you come up with a statement, which is your central idea in our words.
So I've read Lynn Erickson. She also talks about that you can have multiple central ideas. I think then
Yes,
she's talking about the principle of generalization there.
Yes.
That we
She
can
talks
have
about
multiple.
Yes, you can have multiple central ideas, but you need to then identify, are you going to be using an inductive approach or a deductive approach? You get it? I mean, are we comfortable till here? Am I going
Any
too
questions?
fast?
No, your pace is good. Any questions? I'm honestly not very convinced with the principle of generalization. I would rather term it as my intention for the unit, the success criteria or the success criteria, whereas the conventional way of forming our central ideas, make it concept driven. It's a statement. It gives us scope, the 3 lines of inquiry. And I would go backward. Yes, that's what Lynn always talks about in her webinars as well, that you go backwards towards the central idea, from bottom to the top. But somehow I am not very convinced with replacing the traditional way, the traditional central idea with the generalization. That's my take.
What you have to understand is, what you have to take away from this is that your facts have to be in place. If there are no facts, children will not be able to come up with an understanding of the concept.
Correct.
The takeaway from this is facts is very, very important. Don't compromise on the facts, because the minute you compromise on facts, there will be no understanding of the concept. And you cannot have a concept-based curriculum if the children are not able to understand the concept and transfer it in another situation. So the takeaway from this slide should be that even if you're looking at a structure of process, you're teaching children language, arts, music, you have to have the process clear in your mind. What is it that you want the children to do? Then identify the concepts. Then plan your strategies and plan your skills. So you have to be very clear at the beginning of it. Did you get that? So what I'm trying to say is, to understand concept, you need to have facts in place. And just to correct you, a success criteria always begins with an I can statement, because it is easy for the child to say, I can do it or I cannot do it.
Correct.
So
Correct.
whenever you have a I can, it just makes it easier for the child to identify.
Nisha, drink some water, please.
Yeah,
Do you want me to moderate the slides for you?
I'm okay. So again, taking from Lynn Erickson, concept. Two or more concept in a relationship leads to a deep understanding, and you can ensure that there's a transfer. So this is a very important. So as you see over here, central idea, significant concept statement. So if I have my central idea is migration contributes to the economic development of a country. Migration is a concept word. And it is a topic word. It's both. So you must make sure you spend time on that and contribute. How do they contribute, positive and negatively, to the economic growth? Here, the economic growth becomes the topic, not migration. So be able in a sentence, just get into the habit of looking out for the content word as well as the concept word. And keep asking yourself, so if my content is economic growth, I attach that content to see that how does migration influence that. So you understood here that migration is not the content, not the topic word.
Oh Lord. Keep sipping water, please.
Yeah. So how do you come up with the generalization? These are some of the tips. You can read it.
Strong verbs, third person pronouns, qualifiers, free of judgment and values, present tense, active voice. Any questions around this? Please feel free to ask. I really request everybody to please put your cameras on. Some of you are new, would like to see everybody, please. No questions? We can move forward then, Nisha. 7 minutes, then we join the next link. I'll post it in the group. Thank you very much, Rachna, Susmay. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. So have you all heard about Bloom's taxonomy?
Yes.
Yes. I don't know whether you noticed or not, but I have used my I can statement from the Bloom's taxonomy.
Yes.
Yeah. So Bloom's taxonomy is a very good tool. And as a beginner, I think you must all use it. It helps you to come up with questions. It helps you for assessment. It also helps you to come up with learning intention as well as create your I can statement.
I
So
started with that years back.
be very, very careful of how you're using it. You can even use it to in your class to assess where are your children while you're doing the unit. Are they at the so now the Bloom's taxonomy has changed. So the create is at the right at the top. So if you want the children to be able to create something, you can even use Bloom's taxonomy to assess where they are at what stage they are of the unit. It is used for multiple uses, and as a new beginner teachers, I mean, I can't recommend how useful this tool is. Start using it.
Even solo
can use it-
taxonomy. Remember, Nisha, we used to talk so much about solo taxonomy. And we've used it in
Yeah.
the units to see, where
Yes.
the child is. Yeah.
So again, solo, most of the BTRs can be used for assessment, reflection, as well as questioning. Try using it for different contexts. Don't get mixed up. Try doing it one at a time. I'm going to use it only for questioning. I'm going to use it only for assessment. I'm going to use it only for asking questions or reflection. So constantly use this because the kind of questions that you ask will help the child to understand the concept. So it's very important to ask conceptual questions for the children to be able to explore further. And if you've read Trevor's new book on questioning, questioning is a very key factor. In fact, even Grant Wiggins has been talking about it when he wrote this book, Understanding by Design, UBD. Question is a very important component. It helps you to build a conceptual understanding. Get into the habit of asking children as young as grade 2 to come up with conceptual questions. It's very important for them to come up with conceptual questions. Teach them how to model it, how to write conceptual questions. Yes. Moving on to the next one. Okay, so these are some of the strategies that can be used constantly for your classroom. Again, all these can be used to assess whether the children have understood the concept for concept formation, as well as ensuring that they are able to transfer what they are learning in the classroom. As teachers, it's very important for us to be able, when we are assessing, be clear, are we assessing knowledge or are we assessing concept? When we are assessing concepts, concepts cannot be assessed in isolation. Then you have to ensure that you put up knowledge and concept together to assess, or concept and skill together to assess. So just don't take concept in isolation, because it's very difficult to be for the child to show his understanding. He needs to use something to show, and make sure it's one of the skills that you've already identified for the unit plan. That way you ensure that you're constantly assessing the skills of the children as you go with the unit. Any question? I think you are aware of all these terms. Okay, so I have put down some generalization over here. Which is a good generalization and which is an average generalization?
Obviously, the first one is a more general statement, but it can be, if I'm right, Nisha, it can be generalized further, no? Even the first one.
Yeah, but I mean, will it lead to exploration? Will it lead to inquiry? It's a very close-ended generalization. It's not open for inquiry.
Because
It's
it
a
says
weak,
advertisers. Yeah.
it's a
Yes.
weak, it's a
feeding.
weak centralized.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at this, it leads to more, how does captivating images or how does catchy slogans?
So maybe when I'm
What
looking at aesthetics in the media unit, I can have this as a success criteria.
Correct. So make sure that your central ideas are not a simple statement which has no chance for the child to explore, and make it not give away everything that again the child has nothing to explore. So you should neither be here or here. You should be somewhere in between. So both the central ideas is not a good central idea.
So Aati
Yeah?
says the second one, how media can influence.
How
Yeah.
media can, you never have a central idea, which is a question.
No, I wanted to tell that the second
Uh.
one gives you more exploration to how media can influence uh, others, like how, as it says that, advertise, its focus is mainly on if you are taking the unit, how we express ourselves,